Hi, welcome to CJ News. I'm Frank with my colleague
Daniel,
and we're here to talk to you today about deterrence theory as well as
the rational theory.
All right, I'm going to start off the deterrence theory. You know, there's many different definitions to it. You know, well, one of the main definitions I found that kind of relates with the others is in any instance in which an individual contemplates a criminal act but refrains entirely from or curtails the commission of such an act because he or she perceives some risk of legal punishment and fears the consequences. Long story short, deterrence is basically you know the criminal act exists, you know the punishments, you don't want to do it. That's deterrence. Now, there's 4 different types of deterrence. You've got specific, general, as well as informal and absolute. Now, specific and general are pretty self-explanatory on their own. Specific, it's like when an officer stops you for whatever you're doing, and he's focusing on you. He's trying to make you stop doing whatever you were doing. For example, speeding, running a red light, blowing through a stop sign. Not stopping at a stop sign, that would actually be good. Stopping at a stop sign. Now, general, on the other hand, is when somebody else sees it. For example, when you're driving down the highway and you see a cop on the side of the road with someone else pulled over, and all your buddies are just hitting the brakes. They're like, oh, snap, FHB. Now, if you're smart, you keep going. You don't even worry about it because he's already got someone pulled over. You just, right there. Anywho, absolute, on the other hand, focuses more of the effect of the chance of punishment versus there being no punishment at all. And then informal, you have the actual or the anticipated social sanctions and other consequences of the crime and deviance. Now, I'm going to show you a video. We have a video from last night. There was a DUI traffic stop. Look at that and you'll see a little more about what I'm talking about. We're going to go ahead and cut to the video.
Ooh, he just did it again to turn. He's drunk, isn't he?
Let me see.
He's something.
Hello. Is your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance?
Yeah.
You know why I stopped you?
No.
Okay, you're having a hard time staying in your lane. You notice that?
You know what? My tires on that road, there are certain ruts in that road. I drive it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my tires are wide and it throws me.
Okay.
And sometimes when I hit those, I know, and it's like, I've said to my husband, I said, there are some roads when there are those ruts that it hits.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't notice it on that right lane, but
yeah, and so that's...
Yeah, you were definitely, I was like, she's having a real trouble staying in that lane.
Yeah, no, I haven't been drinking.
Okay, it doesn't look like it. I don't see any signs.
No, but that was the deal, and I thought, and so I was sitting there thinking, I gotta quit hitting those. But anyway.
Okay. Tell you what, I'm actually on the way to the call right now, so I can tell you're not drunk, so
no,
I'm gonna let you go so I can get on my other call.
I just headed home after dinner and show. My husband and I met separately.
Okay.
We're headed. But
all right.
That's the deal, and I know. And you know what? I don't drive this car very often because it's my husband.
Yeah.
And so when I drive it, I'm just not as used to it. So.
Okay. All right. Drive carefully. Bye bye.
Alright, so as you saw in the video there, ladies and gentlemen, what you saw there was a DUI traffic stop. An officer was pulling someone over obviously for DUI. Now, really deterrence didn't really exist up until the 1960s because everyone kind of was like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of wrong to do this and this. No, you gotta fight before it happens. You know what I mean? You gotta prevent it. You gotta look at the how many people have been arrested and what are the punishments for the things that they do, and that's what people gotta look at. You know, that's how we stop crime, guys. And which really leads me to my other point is how do you measure this deterrence theory that I speak of? Well, there's 2 ways to do that. One, you look at your criminal justice statistics, and where you look at those is you can either go to federal websites such as FBI.gov or even you just search up statistics on crime and prison and everything and stuff like that, and what they're gonna give you is things based on the certainty, which is the number of the arrest, and prosecutions, as well as severity, which is a punishment, and that really ties into how you're going to measure whether or not deterrence is working and how it's being measured. And the second way in which you do that is how people perceive legal penalties, meaning, which my colleague will get into later, that what are the benefits of doing it and what are the risks of doing it? Meaning, if the higher the risk is, like a bank robbery, do I go gung-ho into a bank and take all the money and walk out? Because there's a pretty high risk there. I can go to jail for a very long time. Not that I'm going to do it, but I'm saying that's how you got to look at it. That's the second way in which you measure the deterrence. Now I'm going to take over, send you over to my colleague Dan. Dan, go right ahead.
Thank you, Frank. Well, this is the rational choice theory. It was introduced in criminology in the 1980s, and it is based on the expected utility principle. It's an economic theory which simply says, if I can maximize my profit while minimizing my loss and costs, I will take the risk. Which means for criminals, it is like, let me outweigh how much money I'm going to make in a robbery or something against the punishment of going to jail or whatever. The opponents of this theory say, criminals make irrational choice. I'm against that because I don't see people just doing crazy. I mean, there's few exceptions, of course, to everything. But most people make rational choice. I mean, I'm not going to go rob if I'm going to think I'm going to get caught right away. No. If I'm going to go rob something, it's because I thought it through in a way that I will think that I will not get caught. The opponent says that's not true and it doesn't work. But the proponents say it usually works for white-collar crime, such as the 2008 economic collapse. And if we could turn to our video, thank you, D-Man. Can you hit the video?
More. Still, I guess at least we have one guy, and he's a vice president. So even if we didn't take down the company, we got the number 2. What?
Goldman Sachs vice president. And by the way, they've got about 12,000 of them over there.
Holy 12,000 vice presidents, all presumably with different ridiculous nicknames. Apparently, you can't walk into Goldman and throw a pen without hitting a vice president. Because even if you hit the janitor, you'll be hitting the vice president in charge of urinal cakes. Or as he insists on being called, Scrubtastic Steve. But at least, Fabulous Fabrice is going to jail, right?
A jury found former Goldman trader Fabrice Tour liable on 6 of 7 civil counts for fraud. He does face fines and a potential lifetime ban from the securities industry.
What? A lifetime ban from the securities industry? Shouldn't he at least have to stay 1,000 feet away from Wall Street and introduce himself door to door whenever he moves to any town that has a bank? Just, hello? My name is Fabrice, and I am a registered derivatives offender. Look, I guess this is just the best we can hope for. Token fines that are essentially rolled into the bank's cost of doing business, along with their budgets for toner cartridges or cocaine. But at least now they know that, we're watching them, and it'll be a while before they dare to behave so badly again.
Banks are behaving badly again. That's according to a letter from the New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. Last year, 5 banks agreed to pay out $25 billion as part of a settlement designed to put a stop to mortgage and foreclosure abuse. Schneiderman says some of the banks are, quote, engaging in much of the same misconduct that precipitated the national mortgage settlement.
And we're back to where we started. You know what the perfect analogy for this is? Our financial regulatory system is like 50 Shades of Grey. You can't hurt them because they like it, and we just keep getting We'll be right back.
Well, as you can see in the video, and special thanks to The Daily Show and John Oliver for his video. As you can see, this guy, Fabrice, or like he's called, Fabulous Fab, likes to say, you can see that there was not really any punishment. There was just like fines, a permanent ban from freaking the industry. It's like, really? I mean, really? Are we trying to show a rationale here, saying like, don't commit this crime stuff? No. We just like joking around with the guy and be like, yeah, you just collapse the whole mortgage system, and we're just gonna give you free money, and you're just gonna pay it back later on from your interest that you made from the money. I think this is, in all respect, a joke to our criminal justice system. A complete joke. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this guy just gets a freaking fine. Really, I mean, many people lost their houses, many people lost their money, lost everything. And then we got this guy who just got to pay a fine and everything's sold. Nothing ever happened. He don't go to jail. What kind of message are we sending to these people? Well, the message we're sending is like, the rationale says, well, wait, guess what? I make all this money and my punishment is just going to be a fine. Guess what? I make so many millions of dollars and I still live the rest of my life happy ever after. Ridiculous. It's just pure ridiculous. But I guess this is the only thing we could expect since, only the elite control the system. Now, I guess the audience wants to ask some question.
Yeah, man, these phones are going off the hook crazy. Wow, people got a lot of questions for us. One of them, I actually picked up the phone earlier today before we went on live, this is more pertaining towards you, Dan, is how does the rational theory relate to the deterrence theory? How does it relate?
Well, Frank, it relates, if people see the benefit, they outweigh the benefit and the punishment. If the punishment is low, like such as the video that we just seen, they're going to do it. They're going to take the risk because there's no such thing as punishment. They're going to make money. But now, if we did, in the other hand, like we see in the video, this guy had like jail time. Not much jail time, but hit it when it hurts. Take away all his money that he made from the fraud that he did. He would think it twice. He would think it 3 times even. He would probably not even do it. That's how it relates. It deters people from doing it because if I'm going to lose my whole money if I get found guilty, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take the risk because the risk is way too great for the benefits I'm going to get. And that's how it relates to deterrence.
You know what, man? I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Now, what was it that we had earlier? It was
it was a question that they asked us. How does deterrence relate to like law and politics?
So politics. Well, here's the thing with deterrence. Now, you see this a lot on TV, and when I say a lot, I mean every day you turn on that television and you're looking at the news, bam, it's there again. So I'm going to use a specific case. This was back in a few years back at the Newtown, Connecticut thing. Something happened. The president's now stepping in saying, "Oh well, this is how politics got involved. Oh well, let's put some more laws on guns." What was it that he decided to limit the amount of ammunition in magazine, or limit somehow?
Limit the magazine
capacity or the gun, I forget which one.
He tried to get a ban for assault rifles.
For assault rifles, right. And it just going on and on and on. Then the NRA got in. It just got into this whole political mess. But that's how deterrence relates into politics, my friend.
Now, I guess we have a question from the audience. Do you think deterrence work? Well, let me start. I think deterrence work, but for certain crimes. I mean, like, that penalty, there's been research that do not deter people from committing homicide. Yeah, that is probably true. But deterrence does work for other types of crimes. When everybody, like, you can see, like, a perfect example. You're speeding down the highway, then you see FHP parked right there, you hit the brakes. So it's deterrence right there. It's a general deterrence. Everybody hits the brakes and everybody stops. So if deterrence didn't work, everybody would be like, man, whatever, the police, let me keep going 90 miles per hour and don't stop. Why do people stop? Because it's a deterrence, because nobody wants to get the punishment of having to pay a ticket. Or maybe going to jail, depending on how fast you're going as reckless driving.
Man, I got to agree with that. When you do see FHP on the highway, everyone's like, oh snap, your left foot turns into a feather foot, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's let go of the gas and stomping on the brakes because, you know what, man, that's not something you want to get involved in, especially if most of us do about 90 down turnpike or 75, however the heck you get to where you got to go. You know, that does work. But, you know, there are some instances where these people are career criminals, man. I mean, when I say career criminals, I mean they do this for a living. That they know the system, they get in there, get out, and they go back and do it again because they know they're going to get out. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but like you say, that's pretty much the exception. Like there's 17 exceptions to the rules. There's some people that no matter how much deterrence you put, it's not going to work. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can see it everywhere in statistics, math. There's always the exception to the rule. But usually for everybody else, after they go to jail, most people don't try to go back to jail. You know, usually there's always some type of crimes that recidivism is high, but for the most part, people don't want to go back. You know, they learn your lesson, unless like rational theory says. You know, if the benefits outweigh the punishment, they're gonna do it.
Absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our CJ News for you. I'm Frank. This is
Daniel,
and we'll see you next time.